loud. Okay, thanks for that reminder. Okay, so how to get people interested / how to get started posting, how to gain interest, how to determine who to invite. I am assuming these are like newer coaches or maybe coaches who have been in it for a while, that things aren't like moving forward. So it's a loaded question, but I'm going to give it my best to answer every single part of it. And the first thing that I would recommend is make sure you have who have done your coming out post on social media. Now, what I mean by that, it's not like hashtag Beachbody Coach, hashtag like abs for days, or like you're not a Beachbody billboard, but you do need to let people know like why you are sharing your health and fitness journey. And I truly believe like all you need to do is share why you are committing to your journey. Like, is it for your kids? Is it for to be a healthy mom? Is it because you know the healthiest you was when you're taking care of yourself? Like whatever your why is, like that's basically what you just need to share. But you need to share it with people, or else you're just giving them whiplash. If you've never come out and like said like, hey, I'm going to be sharing my journey and because of this, because I'm very passionate about taking care of myself because blank, whatever your why is. Like it's not, you don't have to say like I'm a Beachbody you could say you're a coach, but I personally would restrain from using the words like Beachbody or Shakeology, because usually people see those things and they just go running, or they Google it themselves and they're like, oh yeah, she's one of those people. So like instead of just like really bringing them in and curious about what you do. So after like that whole, like you kind of just coming out and you've told your family and friends about it, I have followed this process basically since 3 years ago. It's so easy. It's called commit, declare, share, and invite. So basically first what you do is our first job as a coach. You commit to a program, you commit to Shakeology, you commit to a nutrition plan, like you just go all in, which is our number one job as a coach anyways, being a product of the product, getting to our goals, making sure like we are like living proof that this actually works. That is the number one thing you need to do to start. And then the second thing is declare, like to declare it on social media. You don't have to say like for example, for me, I started T20 today, and like I haven't been shouting T20 from the rooftops, but I would guess almost all my audience knows I'm starting a new program today, because I have been like blowing it up in my stories and my posts for the last 2 weeks that I'm starting something new on Monday. I'm so excited. Like you don't need to use those words that are Beachbody related terms, but do people know that like you're starting a journey and like why you are starting that journey? If not, like that's what you need to do. You need to bring, and that just brings your audience into what is happening in your life. So you commit, you declare on social media, not just in a small story. Like for the last 2 weeks, I've been blowing up my stories and in my posts. Like you need to shout it everywhere, because not everyone sees your post. Not everyone sees your stories that are gone in 24 hours. Like they're there for a very short amount of time. So you just have to remember that. You might be like, oh, well, I posted it one time 2 weeks ago, but like, no, they're not going to see it. Declare it to everyone. Okay. And then the next part, commit, declare, share. And this is the part where it's like, this is what we do as coaches. We share what we do. We share our journey. We share the good days, the awesome days where you crush it, the sad days. Because guess what? You're going to probably have really sad and hard days. You share like the days where you were on point with your meal plan. You share the days where you didn't get in your workout and your kids were crazy or work is crazy. Like you just share, you bring them into your life. And I know that can be scary because you're opening up yourself and you're going to be vulnerable. But here's the thing. You are showing them a real person going through a real life and like showing them that they can do it too. And by being vulnerable, you open up that trust with them before the first conversation has even begun. So if you're posting like one post a week about it, or like maybe once every couple of days in your stories, like that's not enough. People need to be reeled in. They need to see like that they can do this too. And it's that like, they just need to see that it's real and that it works for a real person. So sharing every single part of it. And then the last part is inviting. That doesn't mean it happens at the very end. Like inviting, like it's just kind of the last word in it, but it's share, declare, commit, declare, share, invite. Inviting for me happens throughout the whole process. I'm inviting when I'm committing to my journey. When I was like, I'm going to do T20 starting on June 15th, I started inviting to the crap out of this that, hey, I'm going to get as many girls to start doing this with me. And I'm still inviting. I'm still telling people today, like, hey, I'm starting this new program. Like, you could do the first workout today or tomorrow or later this week. Would you want to do that with me? So just start inviting. And of course, at the very end of your program, like I have 6 more weeks, like I'm going to invite like crazy to whatever I'm doing next. So like following that very simple process is like you just do it over again and over again. And like MBF is right around the corner. I'm going to do that same process for MBF. Like you just need to be real and be vulnerable and honest with people. So I think that covers the very first question. Let me check. When to post and what to post. That was in the first question too. I would say for me, I have found, and it's just through trial and error. The number one thing, you just got to start posting. You got to start sharing what you're doing. For me, I have found that I share it every day in my stories, my workout, I share my shake, I share all that good stuff. But I'm also like, I kind of treat my stories like a TV show. Like, oh, like here's Brooke's life going on, and oh, here's a couple clips of her workout. And then here's babies and kids and toddlers. Oh, and then here's my shake. Like the Beachbody stuff is almost kind of like the commercial breaks in my stories. So like that's what's happening in my stories. But in my posts, as far as my posts go, I have found personally for me, it works really well to post like 1 or 2 times a week about fitness, about like how my workout was, the program. I post 2 to 3 times a week about coaching, because here's the thing, people are going to be attracted to what you talk about. If all you are talking about are your kids and just who knows what, like that's what they're going to be attracted to. But if you are talking about challenge groups and coaching and bettering yourself and eating healthy, like that's what you're going to be they're going to be attracted to. So I talk about coaching a lot because I want coaches to join my team. So that's kind of where I would say for posting. So does anyone have anything else to add to that question? I don't want to be the only one talking tonight.
No, but real quick, can you let Rebecca into the thing?
Oh.
She says she can't get in. Do you see where there's like a meeting room or something?
I don't see anything.
No?
Did you guys have trouble getting in?
Yeah. But I thought she might be stuck in a little meeting room thing.
I don't see like a meeting room someone wants to come.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The next question that I had was how to stay motivated, especially rolling in on Monday, the beginning of the week. That's why, you guys, they have the National Wake Up Call on Monday morning. That's why we have our team calls on Monday nights or sometimes Tuesday nights, because we understand that, you know, all those goals that you just set for yourself for Sunday, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this week. I have this goal set for this week. I want to hit Success Club. All of a sudden Monday hits and like your body is being pulled a million ways and your mind is being pulled a million ways. Listen to those. Get on team calls. Listen into the National Wake Up Call, because when you surround yourself, you have to be really intentional about it. But when you surround yourself and remind yourself of, oh yeah, I really do want this. I really do want to be a part of this and reach this goal, even when life is pulling you and work is crazy. Like that's how you move forward. Like, so that's not like a huge answer. That's for mine. And like, that's the whole reason why they have the National Wake Up Call, is to get your butt going on Monday mornings, because they know that like, oh man, people need a kick in the booty, and they have an awesome coach really come on, share their story and share awesome tips of what to do in your business that week. So that would be my first 2 pieces of advice. Get in our team calls on Monday nights and get on the National Wake Up Call. And then of course, you know, PD, workout, all that great stuff. But for me, those always, anytime I'm like, oh, I'm struggling on Monday, I'm like, oh, I need to go into the wake up call.
Can you talk a little bit more about the wake up call? Like, what is it? Go ahead.
Totally. So it's on a Facebook page. It's on the Team Beachbody Facebook page, and I can add you to that page. And basically it's like it's just with a coach and a person from corporate. They do like some announcements, and then they go into a coach's story, and that coach just shares a bunch of tips and advice of what's working well in their business. And it's awesome. It's basically how I built my business the last 3 years, of just taking tidbits and learning every single week, and like getting that motivation on Monday rolling, because we all need it. So,
okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right. The next question I saw was emails and coach onboarding, customer onboarding. I'll explain how I do my customer onboarding first and then my coach onboarding. Customer onboarding, personally, I just find to keep it so simple, the better. So like just keep it simple because of course you need to find out like what their why is, what their goal is, but you should have already found that out in your conversations before anything else like happened, before they're even a customer of yours. Like you should know their why and their goal of what's going on. So if you're not doing that in your conversations, start doing that. And then like once they get signed up, I add them to our challenge group. I help them pick out a program and say, hey, what do you like to do for workouts? What's your time frame? I pair them up with like 2 or 3 programs. They pick one. I tag them in a free post. Usually it's like the meal plan. It's Shakeology. I did just upload in our photo album of my challenge group, like a get started thing with like Beachbody on Demand. It's a photo album. I don't know if people are using it or not, but I have found like, and then just start personally messaging them every other day or like 1 to 2 times a week for at least the first month. For me, that's where I feel like the most growth and connection and helping people comes from. Getting them plugged into the challenge groups and just being very intentional about personally messaging them and seeing like, hey, how was that first workout you just had? Or, hey, have you found a way to like Shakeology? Because if they have not found out a way to like Shakeology, you need to help them. So many people, I don't even know why they say mix it with water and shake it up over ice because it's so gross. I know some people like that on here, but I'm like, ugh. So like, do they know not to do that for the first time? So like and I know those things are hard to like remember and to think of, but like, just keep it super simple. What did you need when you first started? And I know that's what I needed. So that's just what I try and give them. Just be very personable. Now for my coaches, it's a little more, I wouldn't say in depth, but I do have a 2 email part system. And I explained this a couple of weeks ago, but I'll explain it briefly again. So if I have a new coach that signs up, I will send them an email. The first email is so simple and so basic. It basically just tells them, one, to breathe. Like, hey, welcome to the team. Take a deep breath because you might need it. You're going to get bombarded over the next month or months or year with a lot of new information that is going to seem really overwhelming. So I just want them to know that I'm there. I'm their friend. Like I understand what it is to be a new coach. And that is so important, I think, for all of us, is to never forget what it's like to be a no coach. Like we always need to remember how overwhelming, how no matter how much you might have come in and said, I want to work this business, I'm ready to go. Like it's still very overwhelming. So my first email is just like, deep breaths, girl, I'm here for you. And I just remind them of their number one job, which is take care of yourself. I have a lot of coaches that come in right off the gate of they jump into coaching and Beachbody on Demand and Shakeology all at once. So my first paragraph is like, hey, your first job is you. Like, don't worry about inviting. Don't worry about social media. Like, you need to get the results first, these 3 to 4 weeks. Because if you don't believe this works for you, if you don't even understand how Beachbody on Demand works, or like if you don't like Shakeology, like that's your first job. So just reminding them of that. And then I do give them the links to 3 groups. I give them the link to my challenge group. I give them the link to Team Heart and Hustle page and my personally sponsored coach pages with Josh's and my coaches. And I just say to them, I said, hey, you don't have to add yourself to these pages yet. If you don't, I will in a few weeks. But if you want to, that way I put it on them, because it can be really overwhelming, I think, to jump into these pages and see all these girls like, what are they talking about? What is she doing? She just sent 30 invites. Like, what in the heck am I getting myself into? So yeah, I just think it's important to remember to slow down and to just take it at their pace, no matter if they tell you, hey, I'm ready to run. Because the people who tell me they're ready to run and ready to go, I still make them slow down, or else they're just going to get overwhelmed and bolt. Like that is my experience with it all. So, and then I end the email with like, oh, touch base with you in a couple weeks. Of course, I'm like still talking to them, like personally messaging them and checking in on them. But the second email is where I dive into, hey, Phil, I have 5 steps for them. It's like a new coach call, getting their online office set up. It's a whole checklist of things. And then at the very end, I say, let's get a one-on-one going. And that's when we can come, like, by then, hopefully they have a basis and a grip of kind of what's going on, and they can honestly tell me how they're feeling about things. I can explain to them Success Club, Emerald, all of those things. So I just have found, and I have done such trial and error with all of them. I used to get a new coach and then jump on a call with them, and then they would just be super overwhelmed after I shoved everything in their face. So that has been my experience with new coach onboarding. So does anyone have anything else that works for them or that they want to add to that?
I'll talk for a second.
Yeah.
Just for the customer onboarding, I know you just said you have an album. I do pretty much exactly the same as you, as I keep track of that month, and I just try to be really in touch with those people for that first month especially. But I just want to say, I can share what I have. Maybe you tweaked the one I had. I don't know. I do have an album. That's the very first thing I tagged them in my virtual gym. And honestly, that's partly like a cover my butt / like, not that they ever come back negatively, but just like, I gave you all the information and I checked in with you every week. Now here we are, let's do this thing, if that makes sense. I like having that album in my group because they join, today's day one of my boot camp, but if they join in 2 weeks from now, there's that album with some of that basic information that maybe I covered this week that I don't cover the week that they joined. So I find that to be helpful and kind of take away some of those small questions that our time is precious. And so I really want them to read that and learn it and then come to me with questions if they still have them. Not, that sounds really impersonal. I don't want to sound like that, but I hope that makes sense. So that is a nice tool to have. And I can share a copy of mine too.
Yeah, you should share a copy. I think I don't know if maybe I've seen it before, but I just uploaded in the June, like, challenge group guides that I just uploaded to our team page a couple weeks ago. It had a new, like, kind of like a new coach or challenger get started right, which is like, it was awesome. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to copy and paste all this information and tag people in it. But I think I like how I do need to be more intentional with it. Like, hey, did you actually look at that photo album? Do you actually read it? Oh, that's a good point. Anyone else with onboarding?
So, like, if you guys have somebody that's been with you for 6 months or a year or however long, how often do you check in with them?
Honestly, it just depends. I don't know. At this point in my business, not a lot. I mean, usually if they are engaging in our challenge group, like, we are already probably talking quite a bit, but if not a lot. But when I had more time and when that were like, those were people were like, I knew I needed to keep up with them, because for me, I just had more time to do that, because your time is gold. I think I probably would have. I don't know. What would you guys say?
Yeah.
Every 4 to 6 weeks, I personally go through my virtual gym girls and I literally just type out as fast as I can, hey, how's it going? And if my girls are in here, they know I say that. So it's not meant to be impersonal. It's just kind of to open that gate. It takes a lot of time though. So something I actually did today, and again, I think I have some people on here I sent this message to, is I decided to prioritize my coaches first, because they've already like committed me. So I didn't have time to go through all 200 people a day. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to start with my coaches, because a lot of my customers are discount coaches. So I was like, I'm going to start there. And then if I have more time, I'll go through my list. And it's just a super short message. But like she said, I'm not really a systems person. In some ways I am, in some ways I'm not. So I just can't let myself get hung up on that. I show up every day with a post. And so that's kind of one of the ways I expect them to show up back.
I love that idea, Dana, of prioritizing your coaches first, even if they're discount, because they've committed to it a little bit more. I am back on Facebook recently from BOD groups. And so I went live actually this morning and basically just said, like, I'll show up for you however you want me to show up. So like, if you want me to message you every day, like, I'll message you every day when you need to work out. If you don't want me in your life and you want, like, you can stay away, that's fine. But like, I kind of put it on them, like, I'll show up for you however you want. You just have to tell me, like, what do you need? And so then they'll see that. They're in the Facebook group. They'll see it. They'll see my posts every morning. They'll see our accountability posts every night. So like, some girls don't want to be checked in on. They're like totally fine. And some need a 3 p.m. message. Are you going to work out? Are you going to work out today? And that's like, you just kind of have to I think it's okay, especially if they've been customers for a while, to just say, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you need from me? So I try to check in with them every 4 to 6 weeks, but like Brooke said, it gets like, you have to pay some way to prioritize, and those people should already be either plugged in enough on your challenge group or finding motivation on their own.
I was just thinking too, Kayla, like every time, because for me, every couple months I like close down my current challenge group boot camp and I start a new one. And anytime I do that, I go through everybody of my customers that are in that group and touch base with them. So I was like, oh, maybe that's what I probably do it, of just like, hey, I haven't heard you from you a while. Like, we're starting a new group. How are things going? So that's been an easy way for me to just kind of keep up with those people who have kind of fallen off too, whenever I shut things down and restart a new group. Okay. Anything else on that? All right, the next question I had were Instagram tricks, favorite filters, angles for workouts, videos, fun stuff. So the number one thing, again, I feel like it's just such a learn as you go business. Like none of us were tech savvy going into this. Like it's just such you got to figure it out. You got to do it. For me, I just keep it so simple again, because I just get really confused. I don't really edit videos. I know like there's a lot of girls in here who are really great at it and it makes it so much fun, but that's just not my thing. And I think that's important. Like, you want to edit videos and you want to make it fun for your audience like that, then do it. But if you're like, I don't have time to edit videos, or that stuff is just over my head, then don't do it. So the number one thing for me that has helped with Instagram and just posting is a tripod stand. That has just been really nice to get different angles of my workouts and not to just have to put it up on like a shaky can. So it like shows my triple chin or something. So like you can just play a tripod stand. Mine like goes up to like 5 feet, or it can go down to a foot if I need better lighting because it's really dark. It has that light ring behind it. And those are like $30 to $50 on Amazon. It's a great investment for your business. Another one for filters, I would definitely highly recommend looking into presets, because it just saves so much time. I posted mine a few weeks ago, but I can post it again. I use Chelsea Jean, a few of hers, and they're like, for 4 or 5 of them, it's like $20 to $25, and you get some really great professional looking filters. So usually all I have to do is take a picture. I slap one of her filters on. I might have to edit like with the lighting, just depending on the lighting of the picture, and then I'm good to go. Like, I don't have to overthink it. I don't have to, like, I used to spend way too much time, and your time is gold. We won't like make it easy, but those are things that I learned as I went. What else? Video editing apps. Like, again, I don't do really video editing apps, but I know like there's Splice, there's like that Vita Video, which a lot of people use, which is really fun, that puts like 3 or 4 workout moves together in one like 15-second clip. There's Triller. What else? What do you guys use? I don't know who's all on this call right now. I know a lot of us, I think, keep it pretty basic. # basic.
I know I just listened to a call this week that Jess actually had mentioned to me with Ashley Smith talking about this topic, and she gave like a couple tips to do on Instagram, but basically just said, show up on your stories and the content's more important. And that was really helpful for me, because I know sometimes I can get caught up on Canva and I spend an hour when I could have been spending an hour somewhere else. I just thought that was really cool to hear from. And Ashley Smith is like a up there coach. Just another good resource. Go to YouTube and find some of those coaches. They have fun things that they put out. So yeah.
I like her too, because her Canva content is like amazing, but her like videos and stuff like that are so basic, and her stories are so basic. And I've been playing with using apps, and it's just a waste of my time. And I know some people love it, but it just does not work for me.
Yeah. And I think for me, like, I just want to show people like, you can do this too. Like, you know, and I think sometimes the more like, I don't know, professional looking you get, not saying professional looking is bad, because it looks great, but then it's like, oh, well, I'd have to be like that, and I would do this, this, and this. So I just think keeping it simple and keeping it like, oh, well, I could do that. I could learn that. But I think it's important too to just talk on your stories, even though it's scary and a lot, like at first people might not listen, like talk on your stories, because then like that's when people like, one, they hear your voice, they like see your emotions through your face and your eyes, and like that's when they feel like they know you and you're their friend. Like at least like sometimes like there's people on, I'm sure you guys have it too, on Instagram where you're like, I have no idea who this is, but like this girl feels like my best friend because she probably talks a lot on her stories. So like I think it was that Danny Detro the other day on the National Wake Up Call who was like, have you ever had that person where all of a sudden they talk on their stories and you're like scared because you didn't know that's how they sounded? So I think that's an important thing that we need to bring up with Instagram. It's just, I know that's scary though. All right. Anything else with Instagram?
I was going to say about this talking, I was so terrified to do this at first, and I still get scared sometimes. I just like literally pretend like I'm talking to you guys, and like that helps so much. Like just pretend like they're like you're video chatting with somebody that you like would talk regular to, and they come out so much better. And don't overthink it. Don't delete the first or maybe the second one. Just go with it, because just talk like you're normal. But yeah, I pretend like I'm talking to you guys. So
you remember I used to have to like stand up, or like I would just be like, I need to stand up. A lot of times it was like after I had energized, but now I think it's important for people to see all your kind of different moods, but to not always just talk. Like you just need to show them different sides of you. That's important. Okay, another question. Strategic placement of new customers and coaches, podcast recommendations, and how to stay vulnerable and post transformation pics. Yes. So strategic placements, customers aren't strategically placed anywhere. They're just your customers. They don't go on a leg or anywhere like that. But coaches, yes, that is important, especially at the very, very beginning, and as you continue to build. So the first thing that you need to, and like talk to your upline coach, because they will be able to look at where you are placed and tell you where your strong leg is and where your weak leg is. And like, that's really important for you to know where your strong and your weak leg is. So, because basically what that means, I know a lot of you know what it means, but just for those who might not on here, like you're always the CEO of your business, you're up top, but your strong leg, so like you're right here, your strong leg is called your strong leg because the coaches above you in your organization, whenever they add coaches, those coaches go below you on that strong leg. Like they're not your coaches. They're not like, you don't have to do anything with them, but like those coaches, that it's going to come down the road. It's going to be huge that on your strong leg that you have all these coaches, but your weak leg is a leg that only you will be able to add to. So that's why it's really important when you are going for Emerald that you find out what one's your weak leg and you put your spouse or a parent on that weak leg, because you are going to have full control of that weak leg. And one day you are going to want to build the crap out of that weak leg because your strong leg is your strong leg. Like there are going to be a lot of coaches. And remember, once you become Emerald, you have that person on your weak leg, a person on your strong leg. That's when you get that team cycle bonus. So that's when the legs come into play of, okay, anytime your strong leg has 200 volume on it and your weak leg has 100 volume, you're going to get $14 as an Emerald coach. And that's nothing that you've done commission wise. It's nothing that you've done. It's like just what your team is doing below you. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. And then as far as like building past Emerald, the next big step past Emerald is Diamond. And for Diamond, you want, like, we can pull up the graphics for that in our team page too. There's a ton of them. But basically, you need 4 coaches on each leg. So you have 4 on your weak leg, 4 on your strong leg, and those 4 have to be your personally sponsored coaches, because your strong leg, our team is growing and exploding. So your strong leg is going to have a lot of coaches under you, but it has to be 4 of your coaches on both sides. And then one of those coaches, it doesn't matter where, on each leg has to be Emerald for you to go Diamond. So that's kind of like after getting Emerald, 1 on each leg, you need 4 on each side, and an emerald on each side. So hopefully that kind of helps explain a little bit. And this is just the thing that the more you hear it, the more you'll understand it. And the more you see, like, especially when you see a graphic of it all, like, it'll make more sense. But I know for a long time for me, it just was like, like, now I've just heard it so many times, it just starts to make sense. What else was part of that? Podcast recommendations. All right. I used to be big into podcasts. Now I'm all about the books. What would you guys say? Who else? I know there's some big podcasters out there. And Trent Shelton, I know he's a big one on our team. His podcast. Melanie Mitro. What's hers called? I don't know.
Kelsey, are you on here? Did you share the Gold Digger one, or was that somebody else?
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. The Gold Digger, I don't know what, Jenna Kutcher maybe is her name. But she literally just did one on growing your Instagram, and it was really good. It was really helpful.
I know there's that Cassia Fitzgerald. That's another good one. Like, she's a Beachbody coach that a lot of my coaches have said good things about. And then also, like, the National Wake Up Call, like I was kind of talking about at the beginning, they actually have a podcast section too. So, like, and I remember I used to do that on road trips, and I still do. Like, I would go to the National Wake Up Call podcast, and I would go, like, look through, like, what am I needing right now? And I'd, like, scroll through 2 years ago and listen to something on that topic. Like, it's a good podcast to go to when you're needing some pick-me-up. Okay, how to stay vulnerable and post transformation pics. Brooke, I feel like you should probably take this question because you're, like, the queen of transformation pics.
Me, Brooke?
Yes, you.
No, definitely me. Definitely me.
Yeah, you too. You're
no, I'm wanting to listen to this because I don't post transformation pics like I should. So.
Oh, you're the queen of the stories, though. I should have let you have that one.
I wasn't here. I was downstairs.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I just remember someone. Gosh, Brooke, I don't even know if you. Oh, there's so many Brooks. Mama Brooke, was you?
Everyone needs a Brooke on their team. Trust me.
I'm looking for one.
We'll help you.
Just Google Brooke.
I am. I'm like, that's like one of my Instagram searches.
Please put that in your story. Okay, I'm sorry. This is great. But it was someone along the line basically said something about, well, first off, like, you think you post something and everyone has seen it and it's said and done, but as you're growing and you're connecting with more people, as you're inviting and more people are showing up on your page, not everyone is seeing everything. So I try to throw in transformation pictures just because it's a huge part of my story. It is a lot of people that I connect with. Like, when I think of my 5 pillars, like, my weight loss story is just like that for me is huge. So I connect a lot with people that are working on their weight loss journey or people that are just starting it. So I just make sure to have at least one picture every week. So, like, every 6 days or so, I'm making sure to go through my transformation photos and how to really put yourself out there and get over that fear of being vulnerable. I mean, a little bit of that is hard for me because I look back on my Instagram and I actually showed my team, like in 2016 and 17, I actually started sharing transformation photos way back then when I was trying to lose weight for my wedding, because I was like, I'm doing this for my own accountability. And if only I would have known about this then, but anyway, it's all good. But I received a lot of my inspiration from other people that were doing it on Instagram. So I literally, like, before I even bought anything for weight loss, I went on Instagram. I looked for people that looked like me, were around the same age, and were moms. I'm like, if these people can do it, so can I. I started following them, and I figured if they could do it and I start sharing, maybe it'll help me be more accountable. So, I mean, realizing that you could be inspiring someone that doesn't even know you, I think is, like, super cool. Like, when you are sharing things, really just focusing on what it's doing for you and how it's holding you accountable, how it's making you feel, and just knowing that there are other people on the end. Like you got to take the focus off of the people that are going to think it's annoying, because there could be someone out there that watches you for like a year. And guys, this just happened to me. I've been following this mom for like years and years, and she has like, oh my gosh, I don't even know, like tens of thousands of followers. Like she was huge. She was one of the first people I followed when I was losing weight forever ago. And now she follows me and recognizes me, and I'm like, what? Like, this is so, it like brings me to tears. I don't know. So you just never know. And who's on the other side and who you are inspiring. So really just putting that, I think, on the forefront, why you're doing this, as always, knowing that it's not annoying. I mean, you're going to have new people coming to your shop and seeing, so you want them to see the results that you have, and just focusing on those people that need you. So I kind of just went on a tangent. I don't know if that was
great. I remember I heard, I think it was Logan, one of our like sister coaches, said like people see themselves in your before photo.
Yes.
Like that's what you have to remember. Like people, when they see that before, it's not like the after photo that matters. Like that's important, but like that before photo that you hate and you want to throw away, and it's like that's where people see themselves. And so like you can show them like, but this is what you can do. I think that's powerful. And like, just like you, Brooke, you do so good of taking your story and just sharing it over and over, but in new ways. I know for me, like, I think I'm like, oh, I'm just so boring. My story is just the same. But like, if your story is boring, that means just all the more people can connect with it, because so many more people probably like, you know, not everyone has gone through 100-pound weight loss like Brooke has. Like more, people, you know,
that can be intimidating to some people.
Yeah.
So.
And like a lot more people most likely have struggled maybe what I have struggled with, where it's like, they just couldn't, they were just on that yo-yo dieting train for however many years, or could just never stick with anything, or just fell off the wagon and would try harder. So those things that we just think are boring, like those are the things we have to share, because people, that's where a lot of people are stuck and are. So that's a great question. Okay. I think we're getting to the end of this. Actually, I think that was the last question. Unless there might have been more questions in the chat section. So, did anyone see anything in the chat section? I haven't really been looking at it.
There's a couple back on the team page I see.
Is there?
Yeah, Brooke Addington. Jess, is that?
What'd she say?
It's similar filters using Instagram versus Facebook. How to get over the fear of not being good enough without sounding braggy, if that makes sense. And then there's one more that's a good question too, from Aaron. And how do you talk to your husband and convince him it's not just a silly money waster, and how to explain it to family and friends that it's not just one of those MLM schemes? That's a good one.
What? Prove them wrong. No. I mean, I know for my husband, and everyone can answer that, whoever wants to answer, it was like, I don't know. He just saw how excited I was about it. Like, you just have to be confident, even if you're not confident, or, you know, like, because it's just one of those things where it's like, I remember I watched my coach for a year, and then finally I was like, all right, I want to do this. I think I could do it. And he saw that, like, oh, like, she like is passionate about it. She wants to get healthy. Like, who am I to knock her down? Not that he was like, are you sure about this? So this is kind of weird. But I think just being confident and like going forward and acting is more important than anything. And to take it seriously, because my husband and my family, they didn't take it seriously until I started taking it seriously. You know, until I started treating it like a business, no one else really took it seriously. And I'm like, my mom, I love her to death. Like, she even told me, like, as soon as I signed up, she's like, oh, you know, those people, they only last like 10 months in there. Like, just so you know, so you don't waste your time. I'm like, well, I actually really like this, Mom. And like, so just like my family wasn't really supportive. I would, you know, they didn't ask me about it. They never, but now it's like, oh, Brooke, like, you're running a business. I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, I'm running a freaking business right now, and it's awesome. And I'm helping women. I'm helping myself. And like, that's something to be proud of. And that's something like people don't get unless you show them and you're confident about it. But yeah, it's a hard one, especially when it comes to husbands that just, yeah. I mean, you always need to respect your husband. And like, I'm not saying like go behind his back and do all these things, but I also think like you just need to show him that it makes you happy and that you're confident with it, and like it goes from there. So what else would you guys say? Because I know I'm not the only one who had that. No one had issues with that?
My husband can probably hear. He's upstairs.
With mine.
Yeah. No, I think it's it though. I think it's showing that again, showing up for yourself. And the one thing that I feel like I probably even need to still do better at is communicating. I mean, being in a married relationship and just like having those conversations, and I'm saying it, I'm not perfect by any means, like totally working on it. But just like communicating like what you could see this being, what you want it to be, what you're going to do. And yeah, I don't know. But I remember asking Josh when I went down last November. Mm-hmm. I was like, he seems like he'd be on board right away. And I remember him being like, I was a little worried. And that just like totally normalized it for me, for my husband too. I feel like most, maybe not all, but maybe my small sample size of like 2 people, like husbands are like, I'm not sure about this, or have their questions, just like a lot of people when they look at MLM companies or whatever. I think there's just so much stigma out there that
it's definitely been painted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, doing it for yourself first, falling in love and communicating what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah. No, I agree. If it's like they see that you're healthy and you're happy and they can't get behind you on it, it's like, okay, like this is hard, but I'm a grown woman and like hopefully they'll jump on board one day, but I'm just gonna have to move past it. But yeah, that's a tough one. That's why we're all here. Like we get it. We've been there. Like you're not alone in that if that's where you're stuck right now. Okay. I know we're coming close up on 9, so it's almost been an hour. Mm-hmm. Can't remember any of those other questions, but does anyone on like here have anything that you didn't get answered? Because I want to make sure you guys, or any clarifications on anything.
One thing I'm kind of thinking now that I'm struggling with a little bit is I feel like if I invite people, I feel like they're going to think that I think that they need to lose weight or something, or I don't know. I just have that like thought in my mind that people are like, well, she's wanting me to join her in this fitness journey. Like, does that mean I need to lose weight or whatnot? And I'm trying to think of a way to better, I guess, kind of like market or kind of like show people who are already in like good, like, I guess like shape and whatnot, how it's fine. Cause I mean, I'm overweight. Like I can say that 100%. I'm doing this because I need to like I want to lose weight, but that's just my story. I know that's not everyone. So I'm just kind of like, I know there's a lot of people in a lot of different situations and I'm kind of struggling to figure out how to reach someone in a different situation.
I totally get where you're coming from. Cause I remember I used to have that fear too of like, well, like, are they just thinking like, cause I connect with a lot of moms. So like that I'm just like talking to her because like she just had a baby and like, you know, I don't want to be that person, but I just like had to switch my mindset to like, no, I am sharing that like this works for anybody, no matter how in shape you are, because it's fast, it's effective, you can do it from home, you can do it from anywhere. Like that's like, it's more so in my mind where that shift had to take place. And then the wording would come naturally. Like even like if it's the most in shape person, like everyone needs a 20 to 30 minute workout, even if they are in CrossFit and super into the gym, because they're not going to always make it to CrossFit if, you know, if they have a normal life, which is life is crazy. You can't always make it there. So like, I look at it as like, everyone needs this opportunity. Like everyone could benefit from this, no matter if they're overweight, no matter if they're super in shape, no matter where they're in life, like everyone can benefit in some way from this. And that's kind of the approach I take it. And then like the wording just kind of flows. So I think that stigma comes more from like ourselves and like thinking, she's going to think that, but it's more like, hey, I'm running this challenge group and I know you're super busy like me. And have you ever thought about doing what I do? Like just keeping it simple like that. Like, and then they're just going to take it however they're going to take it on you. If you've come from a raw and real place and not like, oh, she does need to lose weight, or she just had a baby, I better go talk to her. But that's a great question. What else? Anyone want to add to that? Or
yeah, I love that. Oh, Becca, I feel like we can relate so much because I've had that response too, where people are like, no, thanks, I don't need to lose weight, I'm good. And I try to always take people's responses as it's not a reflection of me. It's usually a reflection of whatever it's going on in their mind or their life and themselves. And yeah, and then lead in with what Brooke said is basically just saying, well, actually, like, I actually have a ton of people on this team that never had to lose weight, but everyone can get healthy, and exercising and eating healthy is never going to go away and isn't something that that we will never need as people or moms or women or men, anyone, like people. This is like a basic need. So just kind of having that perspective. But I always have to try to like remind myself too, like whatever like the responses like from others, like it's really hard. And I tell this to all my girls that I talk to one-on-one. I'm like, I get it, because I take everything so personally, but I really just have to remember, okay, like they're their own person, they're going through their own things. Like just be honest, be you, and like you're falling in love with your journey and know where your heart is. And at the end of the day, like, yeah. I don't know what I was going to say after that. But.
That's the best you can do.
Yes, there you go.
Thank you.
Wrap it up.
I'm coming on late, but into that because was so like in the warm market where you're kind of asking friends or asking coworkers. This actually happened to me. So I wish, because I was so new and I still am, but I wish I would have kind of said something back to her about it, because she's like, I think you need to reword that, because I don't think, and I wish I would have still had the message. I was trying to pull it up to see if I could find it, but I couldn't find it. But she said, I think you need to reword what you said to me, because I don't think you meant to, because she's like, because I know you, but I think that it could offend somebody. And she was like, I don't need that right now. And exactly what both Brooke and Brooke said. It's just kind of what they're going through at that time. And I think I wish I would have said, because my coach Dana, I've heard her say so many times, like anybody can benefit from having a 30-minute workout. And I'm trying to remember, Dana, where you found it at, but I know you've told me, like, whether you're bedridden for some sort of like what, you've got some sort of movement in your life, whatever's holding you back, just 30 minutes of some sort of movement. And I wish I would have said that back to her and just kind of said, I didn't mean to offend you. If I did, I apologize, but this is where I'm coming from, because I'm loving that I'm benefiting from this. And I don't know, I'm feeling passionate about that. So I'm, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's kind of, it gets to your heart, because you don't want to offend anybody. And I think sometimes maybe somebody just said something to them that like hurt them about how they look, or they feel like I've got this major zit on my lip, and I'm like the whole day I feel like I needed extra makeup to cover it up, and was just laughing because I'm like, I swear people are looking at me, and I'm like, but it's one of those things. I think that we're just so truly passionate about what we're doing and how we want to help anybody and everybody. And yeah, now I'm going on a tangent. But so yeah.
And you know what? Maybe she's not your friend eventually join. So no, those conversations, and those are just those things like you learn to do as you go, Morgan. Like, you know, now next time something like that happens, you're going to know how to respond, or you're going to know, hey, I'm definitely going to say this to her because I regret saying it the last time. So learn as you go. I love it. Okay. Any other final things or questions or things people want to get off their chest? Tonight has been fun. Lifelong learners, yes. Growth mindset. That's teachers. All right, you guys. Well, thank you guys so much for being flexible with our call. I know this wasn't the original plan, but it ended up being really fun, and just, I love hearing your guys' questions. So hopefully you guys took some stuff away from it tonight. So yeah, I'll see you guys all bright and early on Zoom tomorrow, right? All right, make it a good one. See you guys.